Hello everyone, welcome you all to my YouTube channel. I am Shayani Chatterjee and I am back again with a new civil engineering video. If you are new to my YouTube channel, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel Shayani Chatterjee and press the bell icon for instant updates. Today our topic is stress and strain diagram for a singly reinforced rectangular section by working stress method. And from this stress diagram we will be deriving four constants. The first one is neutral axis constant, second is percentage of steel, lever arm constant and moment of resistance constant. So let's start the video. So here you can see a beam section has been drawn, and for this beam section you can see this small b is nothing but it is the width of the beam. Capital D is the overall depth of the beam, and now for this beam we are going to provide reinforcement bars. The depth from the compression edge to the center of the tensile reinforcement, this depth is called as the effective depth of the beam. So the effective depth is designated by small d, and the distance between the center of the steel bars to the bottommost edge of the beam, this is known as the effective cover. So effective cover is the distance between the center of the reinforcement to the bottommost edge of the beam. Now we will locate the neutral axis. Neutral axis is designated by NA. So what is this neutral axis? Let us understand first. Neutral axis is the axis at which stresses are zero in the section. So it divides this cross section, this entire cross section of the beam into tension zone and the compression zone. In case of simply supported beam, that means if we consider any simply supported beam, in that case the areas above and below this cross section are subjected to compressive and tensile stresses respectively. In case of cantilever beams, the areas above and below the neutral axis are subjected to tensile and compressive stresses respectively. The proper knowledge of locating neutral axis is very important because it helps in knowing the amount of strain in both concrete as well as in steel. So now I will be showing you the strain diagram for this singly reinforced beam section. So right in front of you is the strain diagram. So this one will be the strain for concrete and this will be the strain for steel. So strain in concrete is shown by epsilon C and strain in steel is shown by epsilon St. Now I will be showing you the stress diagram for this singly reinforced beam section. So right in front of you is the stress diagram. So the stress is denoted by sigma, and this suffix, that is CBC, it stands for permissible stress in concrete in bending compression. Sigma St. Sigma St means the permissible stress in steel in tension, and M is the modular ratio. So this is the stress diagram for this beam section. Now the neutral axis depth is denoted by small n, and so if this total portion is d, this portion is n, so this one will be naturally d minus n. Now in this portion a compressive force acts, that is C, which is equals to half sigma CBC into B into n, and it acts at a distance of n by 3 from the top. So if this is n by 3, so this remaining portion will be d minus n by 3, because this portion is d, and so naturally if this is n by 3, so remaining will be d minus n by 3, and the tensile force is equals to sigma St AST. AST is nothing but it is the area of the tensile reinforcement. From these stress and strain diagram we will find out the neutral axis constant, lever arm constant, percentage of steel and moment of resistance constant. So the first one is neutral axis constant and it is denoted by small k. So now we will refer the stress diagram first. So here in this stress diagram you can see two triangles are there. So this is the first triangle and this is the second triangle. So from these two triangles, let me number them as triangle number 1 and triangle number 2. So from this trace diagram and from these two triangles, I will apply the similarity of triangles law, and so we will get sigma CBC divided by n equals to sigma st by m divided by d minus n. So we have applied the similarity of triangles formula and it came out to be sigma cbc by n equals to sigma st by m divided by d minus n. So now we will do just cross multiplication, that is sigma cbc multiplied by d minus n equals to sigma st by m multiplied by n. Now next what I will do, sigma cbc will be multiplied by d minus sigma cbc multiplied by n equals to this portion will remain as it is. So our next step is sigma cbc into d minus sigma cbc into n equals to sigma st into n by m. Now we will take n terms on one side. We will take this minus sign on the right hand side and it will become plus. Now we will take n common and we will take it out. We will take the LCM, so it will become sigma st plus m into sigma cbc divided by m. So our next step will be sigma cbc into d equals to sigma st plus m sigma cbc divided by m into n. Now what we will do, we will just transfer this on the left hand side and our equation will now become sigma cbc into m divided by sigma st plus m sigma cbc into d equals to n. So our next step will be m into sigma cbc divided by sigma st plus m sigma cbc into d equals to n. So n equals to m sigma cbc divided by sigma st plus m sigma cbc into d. So this whole term we will take it as small k. And this small k is nothing but it is known as the neutral axis constant. So we will write n equals to k into d. And what is k? K is equals to m sigma cbc divided by sigma st plus m sigma cbc. So moment of the compressive area, it is equals to the area in compression multiplied by the distance between the center of gravity of the compressive area and the neutral axis, that is equals to n by 2. Now what is the area of compression? So this was our beam, the cross section of our beam, and this was the neutral axis. So this portion was in compression, and so if this was our width, so the width was b and the depth of the neutral axis was n. So what will be the area of compression? It is nothing but equal to the area of this rectangular part, and the area of this rectangular part will be equal to length into width, that is equal to b into n. So area in compression will be equals to b into n multiplied by this n by 2. So moment of compression area will now be equals to b into n by 2. I hope you have understood why this b into n came. So it is nothing but it is the area of this compression part. So b into n by 2 means nothing but it is equals to bn squared by 2. In the similar fashion, we will find out the moment of the tensile area, which is equals to equivalent tension area multiplied by the distance of the centroid of the steel reinforcement from the neutral axis. So here was our reinforcement. So from the center of the reinforcement till this neutral axis, so this is nothing but d minus n. So this d minus n is nothing but it is this distance. So equivalent tension area is nothing but it is modular ratio multiplied by area of this steel bars. So it is AST. So m into AST into d minus n. Now what we will do? We will just equate the moment of the compression area to the moment of tension area. So equating both of them, we get bn square by 2 equals to MAST into d minus n. So this equation is a type of quadratic equation, and for quadratic equation, whenever you will try to solve this, you will get two values of n. One will be positive and one will be negative. So we will take the positive values of n only. The next one is percentage of steel, and it is designated by PT. The percentage of steel in RCC sections means the area of the steel expressed as the percentage of total area of concrete. So PT equals to area of the steel, that is AST, divided by B into D. B is the width of the section and D is the effective depth of the section, multiplied by 100, because PT is expressed in terms of percentage. So earlier we have already seen that by equating the moment of compressive area and moment of tensile area, we get Bn square by 2 equals to m into AST multiplied by D minus n. So in this equation we will find out the value of AST. We will simply transfer m and D minus n on left hand side of this equation. So the equation will look like AST equals to Bn square divided by 2 into m into D minus n, because m and D minus n has been transferred on LHS and it has gone to the denominator portion. But we have already learned that n, that is the neutral axis depth, it is equals to k multiplied by d, and k is nothing but it is the neutral axis constant. So here also we will replace n by kd, and now we will replace the value of AST in this equation. So PT will be equals to Bn square divided by 2m into D minus n into BD into 100. BD will remain constant from here. Now, as earlier I have told that I will replace all the values of n by kd. So now this equation will look like PT equals to B into kd the whole square divided by m into D minus k into D. This n equals to k into D, so we have replaced it here, and B and D are constant. In this equation 2 and 100 gets cancelled. 2 into 50 is 100, so we have replaced it by 50 here. Now this equation will look like PT equals to B into k square D square divided by m BD square minus k BD square into 50. Now here I will take this BD square common and I will take it outside. So this equation will look like PT equals to B into k square D square divided by m BD square multiplied by 1 minus k into 50. Now here you can see in the numerator and in the denominator several terms are common. So I will cancel those terms. So B gets cancelled, D square gets cancelled, and the remaining terms are k square divided by m into 1 minus k into 50. So PT now becomes equal to 50k square divided by m into 1 minus k. The third one is lever arm constant and it is designated by J. So first of all we will understand what is a lever arm. So let us again look back at the stress diagram. So lever arm is basically the distance between the resultant compressive force and the resultant tensile force. So this distance is known as the lever arm, and it is equals to D minus n by 3. It is also designated by small a. Now as we all can see that this compressive area is triangular in section, so the resultant compressive force will act at a distance of n by 3 from the top compressive fiber. The resultant tensile force, that means this part, will act at the centroid of the steel reinforcement. So as I have already told that A equals to D minus n by 3. So I will write it. So A equals to D minus n by 3. Now put the value of n as kd. So we will put n equals to kd. So our equation will look like A equals to D minus kd by 3. So n is replaced by k multiplied by d. So I will take the d terms common and I will take it outside. So the equation will now look like A equals to 1 minus k by 3 into d. 1 minus k by 3 will be replaced by a term called as j, and this j is the lever arm constant. So our equation will look like A equals to j into d, and j is nothing but it is equals to 1 minus k by 3, and it is called as the lever arm constant. The fourth and the last one is the moment of resistance constant, which is designated by capital R. So first of all, let's understand what is moment of resistance. It is the resistance offered by the beam against the external loads which are coming on it. Now we will refer to the stress diagram again. The total compression is designated by C and it is equals to half sigma CBC into B into N. Now this compression is acting at a distance of N by 3 from the top. The total tension, which you can see, it is designated by T, it is equals to sigma ST into AST and it is acting along the centroid of the steel reinforcement. So total compression is equals to C equals to half sigma CBC into N into B, which is acting at a distance of N by 3 from the top, as I have told you earlier. And the total tension equals to T equals to sigma ST into AST, which is acting along the centroid of the steel reinforcement. Now the moment of resistance equals to this compressive force multiplied by this distance. So this distance is nothing but it is lever arm, that is A, which is equals to D minus N by 3. So moment of resistance will be equal to C into A, or this tension multiplied by this lever arm, that is D minus N by 3. So moment of resistance equals to C into A or T into A, that is tension into lever arm. Now the moment of resistance, that is MR, equals to, this is the value of C, that is half into B into sigma CBC multiplied by N, and D minus N by 3 equals to A. So we have multiplied both of this and it will be equals to half into B into sigma CBC. We have replaced the values of N by KD. Here also we have replaced the values of N by KD. So now what we will do? We will just take D common and we will take it out of this bracket. So the equation will now look like MR equals to half into B into sigma CBC into KD square, as we have taken out this D outside. So this D multiplied by this D, it has become D square into 1 minus K by 3. Now we will take sigma CBC, K and J inside one bracket. So our equation will now look like MR equals to half into K into J into sigma CBC, and we have separately taken BD square. So multiplied by BD square. Now this half into KJ into sigma CBC, this term will be marked as R, and this R is nothing but it is the moment of resistance constant, that is R. So moment of resistance will be equal to R into BD square. Now R, that is the moment of resistance, equals to half into K into J into sigma CBC. Now I think this topic is clear to all of you. From this stress diagram we have derived 4 constants. We have derived the neutral axis constant, we have derived the percentage of steel, the lever arm constant and the moment of resistance constant. That's all for today. Thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video, please share it with your friends, and meet you all soon in a new civil engineering video.